My name is Kaylee Kruzan, and I'm a postdoctoral fellow at the Center for Behavioral Intervention Technologies in Northwestern University's Feinberg School of Medicine. I'll be presenting today on some work I did with my colleagues and our partner at Mental Health America, in which we investigated young adults' experiences with completing an online self-screening. Mental health conditions are incredibly prevalent, and young adults are the adult age group with the highest rates of these conditions and the lowest rates of treatment. While young people often do not seek formal treatment, research has shown that they increasingly seek mental health information and support online. One of the ways individuals engage in early information seeking is through taking online self-screenings or surveys that ask questions about symptoms and provide individuals with results. To date, little is known about young adult experiences with self-screening, despite the potential for these encounters to be pathways to additional help and support. For this paper, we used several theoretical frameworks. Our main framework was Rickwood's model of help-seeking, which we supplement with two additional constructs, readiness to change and receptivity, drawn from other models that together provide a more nuanced understanding of this process in online environments. Due to time, I won't go into these constructs here, but if you're interested, please check out our paper. Rickwood conceptualizes help-seeking in 4 phases, beginning with awareness, or simply becoming aware of a problem and symptoms. Next is expression, which involves developing an ability to clearly articulate a problem to oneself in a way that could be understandable to another. Availability is next, which is simply increasing knowledge of potential sources of support. And finally, willingness, or making others aware of symptoms through disclosure. We examine help-seeking through Mental Health America, the nation's oldest and largest mental health patient advocacy group. Mental Health America directly serves individuals living with mental health conditions by providing online resources, public awareness campaigns, educational information, and validated mental health screenings. In 2021, over 5 million people came to complete their screenings, which is nearly double what it was in 2020. Many of these people met clinical levels of diagnosable mental health conditions and were not in treatment. So what does MHA look like from a user's perspective? First, users go to the website and can select from a variety of different online screenings. Participants in our study were recruited from the depression or anxiety screener. Next, a screener is selected and they work through a short validated survey that asks questions about their symptoms, and then they can make their selections. Then they receive their results, which typically include a severity score, a bit of information about the condition, including some links to psychoeducational material upon scrolling to the bottom. In this paper, we present 4 aims of our research. For the purposes of timing, we only report on the first 2 here. These are identify context or events that led young adults with mental health concerns to take an online mental health screener and understand how they made sense of the screener results. We recruited 50 young adults from Mental Health America. We used asynchronous remote community methods, which we explain in detail in the paper, in which participants interacted with one another through a series of online focus group sessions where they could respond to prompts that we posted and comment on one another's responses anonymously. We present on a limited set of data in response to 2 prompts here. You can read more about safety measures and the methods in the paper. We present findings on what young adults were looking for in taking the screener and how they responded to the results, as answers to these questions give us important information about whether the self-screening process met participants' needs. So what were they looking for? Participants most commonly reported wanting to validate their experience of mental health symptoms or to initiate some sort of action. You can see some quotes from participants here on the right. Participants also reported wanting to initiate or prompt action. So, how did they respond to the screening process and results? We found that participants reported both an emotional and behavioral response to the screening. In terms of emotional response, participants most commonly reported feeling that the results legitimized their experience. Surprise or shock was also reported, albeit less frequently than validation. Several participants expressed discouragement at the confirmation of their symptoms. When participants reported an action in response to the screening outcome, they most often reported engaging in self-management. Several participants reported having engaged in outreach or reached out to counselors for help. Finally, what was most common was reports of ambivalence about how to move forward. For example, one participant wrote, "I didn't do anything with the information because I wasn't sure what exactly to do with it." So, key takeaways from this subset of our findings. In general, we found that young adults brought both short-term and long-term needs to the screening experience. Short-term needs like validation and self-knowledge were commonly met through the screening process. However, longer-term needs such as how to take meaningful action, engage in new coping strategies, utilize available social supports, and make decisions about future changes were not. Situating our findings within existing help-seeking theory, participants' reactions to the self-screener were generally concentrated on the earlier stages of Rickwood's model. However, participants reported unfulfilled needs mapping to availability and willingness. While most participants expressed some degree of readiness to change or engage in action, there was an uncertainty about what actions to take moving forward. This is a key design challenge. We discuss implications in our paper. However, in brief, our findings suggest that online screening should be augmented to better support individuals in processing their results. Online screener feedback should be actionable and appropriate to one's readiness to change. This finding is discussed in more detail in the paper and builds upon participants' expressed interest in digital interventions that help them make meaningful steps towards reducing symptoms. And finally, online screening should provide scaffolding to help in decision-making and reduce ambivalence. Our work makes several contributions. Thanks so much for listening. Please feel free to reach out via email or ask any questions at the conference.